Hello there, RJB here, and we're back for the finals of the very first Rjbtv tournament. And previously, we had players Libaku and Scan duke it out, which Scan won 4 wins to 1 loss. Scan, of course, then eliminated, and Libaku progressed towards the finals. And on the other end of the bracket, even though it's a very small bracket, we had Toki lose out to Voss in a 4-3 series that was pretty much fought for tooth and nail. An arm and a leg it cost him to win this series. It was so extremely close. Both players were, in my opinion, actually evenly matched. It was a very, very exciting set to behold. Voss came out on top, so he progressed towards the final round. And once more, to reiterate the rules, so just that everyone knows exactly what's going on. The most important rule is each set is a best of 7. So we are looking forward to perhaps a minimum of 4 games or a total of 7 games. The first match in a set is a Protoss versus Protoss, whereas the second match, the races are decided by the loser. Now there are about 9 combinations of races, and each combination of races can only be played once. Every single match, the loser picks the races for the next match. There is a rule for PvP, and that is no choke and no cannons on the middle. And most importantly, if you are Protoss, you cannot use mind control on a worker, because that just gives way too much of an unfair advantage, because there's only one race that can use mind control. Had all races had access to mind control, it would have been a different case. But given that only Protoss can use it, it is banned from the tournament, and using mind control on a worker results in an automatic loss. That's all the information. Let's move into the very first match, the Protoss versus Protoss between Libaku and Voss, who are to a lot of Western players outside of Korea known as JH. Voss is JH. And Libaku is known as Gold STV, White and Black. 1 versus 1 go! And I think that's all the names they are known by to all the Westerners not from Korea. So the Protoss versus Protoss, we have Voss on this is actually the pink color. He's actually the pink color, right? So there's no confusion on that color. And Libaku is on the dark blue, but I'm going to change it to light blue. That's a little bit easier to see on the minimap. And I don't want to get stuck looking at that. Difficult to see on the minimap color. Also, I'm going to turn up the game music sound a little bit, so we can still hear that in the background. I hope it's not too loud. But I thought that it might just be nice to use the game sound as the background sound. Now Libaku is playing at an all-time low APM, because he is one of the players who actually does not spam his clicks whatsoever. He seriously only clicks whenever he needs to. Whereas Voss, as you can see, likes to spam around in the early phase of the game. He went for a +1 Nexus, likewise Libaku matching that +1 Nexus, and I think both players are going to make the same building next, either a gateway or a forge. Well, Libaku is a little bit late with his gateway, but in it comes. I think he's going to go for 2 gateways at the same time, or maybe he's going for a gateway and a forge almost at the same time. But it looks like both players are somewhat matching each other in their build order, because both players went for a gateway and a forge. The timings are a little bit different. Voss goes for a very quick assimilator there, whereas Libaku did not yet build his assimilator. So there's already quite a stark difference in their build orders, because that assimilator is almost already finished there for Libaku. Now comes out for Voss. Libaku is only making them right now, but he goes for 2 at the same time. But we can expect Libaku to have a little bit more minerals over Voss than Voss has compared to Libaku. Cannon already coming out there. Cannon also already coming out there for Voss. Also has a cyber core already on the way, whereas, well, actually they pretty much are mirroring each other perfectly, except for the gateway being slightly misplaced. This one's lower, that one's higher. Rjbtv is the first one to find his opponent. Voss went the wrong way. Both players went clockwise, which worked out for Rjbtv better than it did for Voss. So I think Voss now knows that Rjbtv is probably also counterclockwise to him. First Zealot comes out. Zealot out already for Voss. Already Citadel of Dune on the way. And there's going to be a Citadel of Dune on the way here for Rjbtv as well. So both players are actually doing the exact same thing. They're still doing the exact same thing, and I think they might both be going for Dark Templars or for Citadel of Dune to get their Zealot lags. Maybe they're getting Zealot lags and Dark Templars. Both. Maybe both of them are doing the same thing. There's a robotics facility there. Also a robotics facility there for Rjbtv. So either... Well, there's like 5 options. One, they can make a Reaver shuttle. They can make Dark Templars. They can go for Zealots with Zealot speed and then go for a Reaver drop at the same time. They can go for Zealot speed and Dark Templars, or they can go for just Dark Templars, or they can go for High Templar with a Storm drop, or they can go for Zealot lags with an Observer. So there's like 6 or 7 options. It really depends on what their opponent is doing. I think the best option, that if you know your opponent is doing Dark Templars, you go for robotics and you don't go for Templars Archive, but you instead go for Observers and you make more Zealots and Dragoons to counter their option that they went for. But both players are still doing the exact same thing, so it's going to come down to whoever pulls this off better. But I think it's going to be a stalemate situation for quite a while actually, because both players are doing the same thing. Oh, pretty good Zealot micro there coming out for Voss. He comes out on top, keeps his Zealots alive, kills the Zealot that Rjbtv had, but Rjbtv's Zealot already was on lower HP. Both players queued up their Psionic Storm. Both players have Support Bay on the way. Support Bay for Voss has... Wait, Support Bay is not on the way for Voss. He's going for a Shuttle and a Templar and Psionic Storm, whereas Rjbtv went for Support Bay, Psionic Storm, a Shuttle, and he's going for Dark Templars and... Well, the 1 Dark Templar and 2 1 High Templar, 2 High Templars, 1 Dark Templar. It's so annoying that they are both called Templars because it starts screwing with your mind when you're trying to pronounce it. So Singularity Charge on the way for Voss, but Voss already has his first drop already flying to location, but it gets spotted out by Rjbtv's drop that is likewise flying towards destination. But will Rjbtv be in time with dodging the storms? He starts splitting up his probes, pulling them off the minerals, but yeah, they're going to safety. High Templar is still in there, so he might actually storm all of his workers. This shuttle already arriving on destination, but it will get spotted out. Wait, shuttle there's moving. What's going to happen? It doesn't reach destination. He actually forsakes it so he can focus on defending his own probes, because this one, it's more important to keep your own probes alive than to kill the opponent's probes. And he ends up losing about 12 probes there in the process. That's a great hit there for Voss. But Voss, who ended up not going for Dark Templars, is currently unable to go for the counterattack because he has to wait for the Observer to spawn from the observatory. But first he's making another shuttle so he can send out a second Storm drop before making the Observer. It means that Rjbtv can keep Voss at bay for now with this single Dark Templar, while he's formulating his own drop response because his first drop failed and he has to start hitting those probes to avoid falling behind even further. And also he's getting some Dragoons there to snipe shuttles as they're flying in. This Dark Templar here is keeping information, keeping tabs on what Voss is doing. He can see the shuttle spawning, so he knows it's there. He sees a High Templar spawning there as well, meaning he knows the exact layout of Voss's base. And that's the advantage Rjbtv has at the moment, is information that Voss cannot conceal, because he lacks the Observer, which is now, though, here on the way. High Templar is trying to look for a way in. There's path here. I think he's going to use that path here to fly in, because not a single Dragoon can realistically respond and snipe that shuttle before it reaches destination. There's 2 High Templars in there. 1 Storm going to come down. Yeah, didn't storm. I think something went wrong there. He didn't storm. Both High Templars also went down pretty quick, but he had sufficient time to storm. But I think something went wrong with his control there, and he wound up not storming his opponent. Whereas this shuttle already on the bottom side of the map here for Voss, but is going to get spotted out by this Observer hovering over on the hill. for Rjbtv, so he knows it's coming. Also, this shuttle going up there to spot shuttles coming in from the top side. Looks like Voss is... oh, that's an observer. So both players are spreading out their observers to the side. Dark Templar has also been cleared out. And both players are at the moment playing it defensively. Of course, Voss, 14 probes ahead of Rjbtv, is currently leading in supply count and in base size, but he simply had more minerals to buy stuff with, basically. Yeah, it looks like we've reached an impasse where nothing at the moment is happening because both players are just formulating their defense, and they're soon going to be setting up an attack, I'm sure. At the moment, they're waiting for the setup, the combination attack that they can do to like Voss wants to distract Rjbtv from this shuttle drop, because he, I'm sure, knows that Rjbtv already has an observer there on the hill, and assumedly observer here. Although at the moment it's a shuttle, it's soon going to be an observer. But both players know exactly what the other person has, because they've been mirroring each other for the first portion of the match. It's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 gateways there for Voss, and there's likewise 10 gateways here for Rjbtv. Actually, that's 11 gateways, and he's making now going for 13. Voss goes in for the frontal attack as a distraction for the shuttle drop to be able to fly into the base unopposed. Whether he will succeed, I am not sure. There's an observer there to spot Dark Templars, and Rjbtv goes in for the counterattack. He's already on... they're matching their supply counts evenly here. And that means that Rjbtv has actually more units than Voss has at the moment. Voss has more probes, so if they have even supply count, it means Rjbtv has more units out on the map. Both players going in with the drops at the same time. This is going to be hard to juggle, but let's see who gets the best storm off. Rjbtv goes in, reaches destination, and he gets... Voss dodges the storm. He starts the storm misses, whereas Rjbtv gets hit by the storm and loses over half of his worker count. That's really, really well played there by Voss, who comes out on top. Now Rjbtv gets the short end of the stick, but he won the mass versus mass fight inside of his base, which gives him the opportunity to at least go for a counter move. With less probes, they're still running away. It's only 4 probes, but another drop comes in. This one is unopposed as well, because there's no Dragoons there ready to snipe the shuttle, so 2 Templars there are ready to storm on those probes. Storm splitting up. Probes actually managed to dodge most of the storms. Only about 4 of them go down, because they were on the gas and incapable of dodging. It's really well played there from Rjbtv, splitting his probes into 2 separate directions. Zealot there going in to scout the front to see how many units there are, and he sees that there's a couple of units there, and he feels that he has enough units to go for the attack. And this is one of those moments where Rjbtv has to go for the attack and deal some damage to his opponent, because he has fallen behind so far in worker count. Also, those 4 probes there are going down. Another drop comes in from Voss on the top side. Rjbtv might lose his probes once again, but he starts dodging the storm in multiple different directions, and he keeps most of his probes alive once again. Really well played, but Voss gets to pick up the Templar and retreat and save that Templar and shuttle for yet another drop. At the same time, a fight is happening here in the front. There's a unit of Templar in that shuttle, but there's no way to get into the enemy base, and the shuttle takes damage from that observer providing vision over the hill, meaning the cannons can now fire. Also, the fight here happening in the front. Looks like Rjbtv is killing a lot of stuff. He's killing a lot of units there, but there's a Dark Templar there in the mix that is killing those Dragoons very, very rapidly. Also, the drop that he tried to send in has failed. It went down to the cannons. That one was a failed attempt from Rjbtv, but Rjbtv is nonetheless still fighting this one pretty well. But only if he had an observer there here in the fight, he could have taken out the Dark Templar and avoided a loss of even more units. Both players somewhat have the same amount of units. Another drop here coming in from Rjbtv. He has to start hitting the probe line if he wants to get back into this match, because Voss's base size is almost twice as big. Although it's very messy, not very well optimized. I actually think both players have about an equal amount of gateways. Another drop comes in here for Voss, but it does not hit. Great response there from Rjbtv. Rjbtv also sending and controlling this shuttle, looking for an opening. But there's a small opening here on the side, but there's an observer there that spots the shuttle, so Voss already gets the chance to move his Dragoons there into position to snipe the shuttle. Which means that Rjbtv actually physically has no way to get in on those probes and storm those probes and get himself back into the game. Once again, shuttle there comes in, but the shuttle gets sniped this time around. Blocked by the resource tab there on the top corner. But well played by both players at this point. Despite the fact that Rjbtv has so little minerals, he's doing this really well and hanging in there. I actually think this should be the moment for Voss to stop sitting in his base, go for the attack, and turn the match around. Because he definitely has the chance to go for the kill. And it looks like he agrees, because just as I mentioned it, he sends out his mass of units because he has hit the supply cap. And once you hit the supply cap, you might as well start fighting because you have the ability to reproduce your entire mass very quickly. So it's time to start throwing away that mass and start trading with your opponent. Rjbtv almost back on... Actually, he has the same army size as Voss has. Voss is level 2 weapon, whereas Rjbtv has level 1 weapon. Neither players have shield or armor upgrades yet because both players only have a single forge. They're mostly just going for weapon upgrades. Once again, shuttle drop there flying out for Rjbtv, while all the units that Voss has have left his base. So there's no units left in the base to defend against shuttle drop except for those 3 Dragoons. He's mostly relying on those cannons. Fight here happening as well. Storm comes down on the Dragoons. Dragoons fighting mostly against Dragoons, and a single setup there in the mix is now going to die very quick. It looks like the surround that Rjbtv has from Defender's advantage is netting him the win in this exchange, despite having inferior weapon upgrades. But in comes the storm drop. This time around he's going to hit all the probes. Wait, no, he storms the wrong. He storms the right side and he kills exactly half of Voss's probes. He went down from 80 probes down to 39. Rjbtv is now ahead in probe count because he's got 55, but the storm drop's already coming in. But Rjbtv this time around sees it coming in, and he's going to snipe the shuttle. He snipes the shuttle with the Templars. Only a single Templar lands on the low ground. It storms on top of the Dragoons. But it looks like Rjbtv is now in the lead because Voss has been incapable of doing any more damage aside from killing those probes in the early stages of the game. The thing that Voss has going for him though is the fact that he has a lot of gateways. He's got a lot of probes there on the minerals now. He's got less probes on the gas, so he is capable of recovering. He also had somewhat of a nice little bank of minerals to rebuild with, and he's very close to hitting level 3 weapon upgrade and level 1 armor and shields, whereas Rjbtv is still stuck on 0, 0, and 1. 1 being the weapon attack upgrade. So Voss comes in. He wants this confrontation. He knows he's getting level 1 shield and armor upgrade, so he knows he will be the superior combateer once he has those upgrades finished. He has them finished. Rjbtv doesn't even have level 2 weapon yet because he's not even researching it. This fight is definitely going to be going in favor of Voss, but nonetheless, the unit count for the defender is always a little bit bigger because of the distance traveled. And Voss at the moment incapable of reproducing his entire mass very quickly because he lost that many probes a little bit earlier. But nonetheless, he has a lot of units spawning here in his base, ready to be sent out into the confrontation. But Rjbtv, having his minerals and his income back, is capable of reproducing and matching the production from Voss. So it's going to come down to these storm drops making the difference. But at the moment he has no storm drop, he has no Templars on the way either because he's totally focused on defending, whereas Voss does have a storm drop on the way that might go unopposed because Rjbtv is pulling his units away from the back, from the top side there. And that's the exact same moment Voss goes in for the storm drop to finish this off once and for all. Rjbtv is dodging the storm drop though, but Voss has a chance to chase this probes with his shuttle, but they're too far away. He doesn't get a storm off. He gets a storm off, but he kills pretty much nothing. He kills 2 probes there, and the fighter in the front is looks to be going into Voss's favor because of those upgrades that he has. He's still winning the fight here in the front. More Dragoons are swarming in, and I think this might very soon spell the end for Rjbtv if Voss keeps sending in units and keeps overrunning and slowly winning the fight. Although Rjbtv actually forces Voss to pull back, and he gets a pretty great arc here, pretty great surround on those units trying to enter, but 2 pretty nice storms coming down there on the Dragoons, dealing quite a bit of damage and forcing those Dragoons back into their respective corners in the base, which gives Voss the chance to walk in with the remainder of his units. But he's being a little bit slow with sending new units from his base to the confrontation. Templars turning into Archons. He's got another shuttle on the way. Voss, no storm drop on the way yet. He has a couple of Templars here, but he might have to use those Templars to storm in order to defend. So 74 probes now, 71 probes for Voss, but Voss having more gateways and having more upgrades is very quickly eclipsing the supply count for Rjbtv. Rjbtv is losing supply very, very quick. Another drop comes in here. No, that's not a drop, it's an empty shuttle. But Rjbtv nonetheless is forced to try and storm dodge, which slows down his mineral income as well. He has more upgrades on the way here though, so he might soon be matching the upgrades as Voss has. But Voss also already on the way for level 2 armor and level 2 shield. So actually they will never match upgrades because Voss seems to be winning this fight quite convincingly. Quite convincingly this is. And he keeps progressing forward, chasing the Dragoons there into the corner. With those Zealous Dragoons have nowhere left to go, so Rjbtv just gives up on those Dragoons altogether. And yeah, this is just going to be a fight that Rjbtv cannot win. And was all decided by that one storm drop very early on that gave Voss the advantage in terms of being able to build a bigger base, get more upgrades, get more units, and keep getting more and more. And you really, as Rjbtv, really had to hit a storm drop of his own on Voss's probes earlier in order to come back. But the storm drop hit too late, and the comeback was impossible. And another great Reaver drop there comes down on those probes, killing the remainder of the probes. He lost a significant amount of probes. It went down from 83 to 11. He didn't even have to hit the drop because the game was already over. But nonetheless, Voss seals the deal and takes himself a pretty nice win and turns the game into a 0-1 score in favor of Voss. So we're now moving over to game number 2 and see who wins that one. Rjbtv, having lost the previous match, decides to go for a Protoss against Zerg matchup because that simply is the matchup that he is by far the best in and gives him the highest chance of winning. He's not saving this matchup for later, he's going to use it right off the bat, knowing that Voss probably doesn't stand much of a chance. I'm going to speed up the first 2 minutes because we're in a cross map situation. Both players are somewhat white colors, so I'm going to stick to the red and blue. I'm not a fan of red and blue, but sometimes you just have to use it because it's the only viable option at the moment. Because look at the minimap, this is pretty stupidly hard to differentiate. If you're trying to look at a quick glance, even here on the top side, it's pretty difficult to differentiate between the two colors. So back to white, red and blue it is. Instead of white and almost white. White pink. Not quite black pink, white pink. So Sunken coming out there in the front for Voss. Started off with the hatchery in the front, pool hatchery. Going for hatchery number 3 there, also quite early because he knows the matchup, and going for a very early gazer there as well, and moving out with his Zerglings to scout the map and potentially pick off some probes or run in for the minerals there and harass those minerals. But Rjbtv started off with a +1 Nexus, and then 3 gateways, a forge, an assimilator, and that's a cannon. There's no cyber core just yet. 3 probes going to sacrifice their mineral income for the sake of gas income. Look at the minimap, look at this, isn't it beautiful to behold? All those units are walking into different directions here. Scouting the entire map in one go. Circling there, he though finds its destination and target, but I don't think it's going to kill a single probe there because the cannon is finishing up and the probes were moved to safety rather well. Also, Zeld already here on the scene, ready to build a pylon too, so we can build a contain of cannons here in the front and start a robo proxy, but it looks like Voss wants to put an end to this once and for all because he's hunting for that probe. Probe gets stuck in between, but it stays alive, manages to wriggle its way out of there with the support of that Zealot, but nonetheless the probe goes down in the end, and the cannon goes down as well. So Voss pulls off a pretty successful first attempted offensive defense there at the start of the game. Hopefully he plays it a little bit differently than he did against Rabbit yesterday, because that simply cost him too much investment, constantly fighting with those Zerglings on the middle against those Zealots while Toki was still progressing his base and his economy, and Voss was kind of stuck on 17 drones for the first 6 minutes. Really backfired, cost him the game in the end. This time around though, he's droning up even more because he's already on 23 drones. He's not investing much into that choke there in the front, but Rjbtv can actually go in and contest that choke. And he actually decides to go and contest the choke because there's only 3 Sunkens there, of which the third one has yet to finish. 2 Zerglings there ready to fight, but it looks like this frontal portion here is going to be taken down by Rjbtv, and Voss is going to curse himself out for being so neglective, because he had vision of all those zealots that are in the front, so he should have pulled over more drones to the front here to make more Sunkens, and he also knew that Rjbtv had 3 gateways in his base, meaning he has the production capability to build a lot of zealots. Voss went for Zergling speed to try and contest this choke block there on the middle to try and fight those zealots, but this zealot count is simply too high for Zerglings to fight into. So now he is forced to start a Hydralisk Den very early, gets Hydralisk speed. He only has a single assimilator though, so he cannot make all that many Hydralisks. But he has to keep on making units. While Rjbtv is focusing on the hatchery, he gets some pretty great shots off on those zealots, but the zealots just have to turn around away from the hatchery and focus on the Zerglings, and the Zerglings will go down very, very quick. He did take down the cannons there in the back. More cannons are on the way. He goes to snipe those cannons once again, but that's a lot of zealots there ready to defend. He takes down 1 cannon. Will he take on the second cannon, gets cancelled, but cannon number 3 finishes up. And there's a Robo already on the Reaver already on the way in the Robo. He's a Stargate there coming in as well for Corsairs. Zerglings are scouting the base just to see the progression of Rjbtv's tech. Also there's a Robo here, support bay of course for the Reaver. Still of Dune also on the way, and Rjbtv is fishing for some damage on his opponent by sending his zealots into the battle. Voss went for a lot of hatcheries very early on, but he has no units to fight back with. But a single Sunken there in the back that is keeping those zealots at bay for now, because Voss needs more units. He knows he needs more units. He already has a Reaver. Reaver just has to walk in. No shuttle made for the Reaver to support it and fly it in. Shuttle is on the way inside the base there though. More gateways on the way there as well. And he cleared out the entire portion here in the front, killed the hatchery, Sunkens. Pretty good job there from Rjbtv, but Voss is not yet dead. Voss has himself the opportunity to build some Sunkens, to build more, to get more gas, build more Hydralisks, get more Overlords, get more Zerglings, everything that he needs to defend. Although the defense is going to be significantly harder as time progresses, because Rjbtv already on 50 probes and has the ability to make a very, very big mass of units. Although at the moment he is supply stuck. He needs some pylons. He's making some pylons, but not a lot of pylons. Now he's making more pylons, but not enough pylons yet to undo the supply block. Cannons at the front once again went down to Voss, hunting those cannons. He's rebuilding a colony there in the front before the creep dissipates. Smart move, but it's only a single Sunken, but at least it's something that Rjbtv has to fight through before being able to go for the main base. And more Hydralisks are still on the way. Drones on the way as well, for 34 drones in total now. So Voss is doing a pretty good job at staying alive and staying relevant. But those 3 Reavers here are a huge danger for Voss, and this Corsair there hunting for Overlords is also a huge pain in the ass. Sorry. I needed something to drink. Now, Lair's on the way. Both Hydralisk upgrades have finished. Corsair there is being assaulted. It's being held there on hold position. Rjbtv is moving in through the front at the same time. Killed the single Sunken there. Corsair there on the bottom side went down. 2 Corsairs there on the top side. Keeping those Overlords away from the hill. 140 supply already for Rjbtv. He's just making Zealots. Because he kind of just needs Zealots. Zealots are quick, they are cheap, they run across the map, they're beefy, they're strong. 160 HP. They have 1 armor by default, so they just have to come in to the fight, support those Reavers, and make sure those Reavers don't die to anything whatsoever. But a lot of Hydralisks are spawning here from Voss, but he's at the moment supply stuck. 4 Overlords though are on the way. Got 40 drones against 66 probes, but Rjbtv is not planning on giving Voss any more time. Because his Scarab upgrade damage is on the way, Psionic Storm is on the way, Singularity Charge is on the way, and level 1 weapon attack damage for his ground forces are on the way as well. He sends in a couple of those Zerglings to eat up some Scarabs. But in goes Ooh, he hit the probes with the Reaver shot there in the back, and the fight happening in the front there at the same time as well. Reaver there still going for the drones, and all the drones have gone down, only 4 drones left alive. Voss is going for the counter attack. He gets a pretty great round off on those Zealots and those Reavers, and he kills all of the Reavers there in the back. No, the Reavers are staying alive because the Zealots are simply too great at fighting, and Voss calls GG because he missed that shuttle drop going in for his drones, and he winds up on the bottom receiving end of the exchange, and Rjbtv takes home his first win, which I already expected to be his win because he is simply one of the greatest Protoss versus Zerg players in all of fastest map. Even if we include all the top level players, like Brain God and Minchul, Mong, he probably has one of the best Protoss versus Zergs. If you include all those players, he's right up there among them. Alright, that was game number 2. Let's move on to game number 3. For game number 3, Voss decided on Terran for himself and Zerg for his opponent. So this should be somewhat of a good match. The colors are pretty nice. We've got blue Zerg here and we've got pink Terran in that corner. Let's speed up the match a little bit. I expect Voss to go for an 8 barracks. I expect Rjbtv to go for a choke. Not much different from the usual. In for the choke he goes. Barrack, supply, barrack. Wait, no, he goes for a later barrack. Well, there's the barrack. He makes the SCV mine first, like one time, and he sends it in for the barrack. So he has 8 more minerals than he would otherwise have. It's not a huge difference, but a small optimization might make things easier down the line. Barrack number 3 also there on the way. First barrack is finished, Marine is on the way. SCV is going for the scout, and it might go for the scout to either the left or the right. And depending on where he goes, this game might already be very decided early on, because this SCV there going for the hatchery, and it will spot that hatchery, and it will start building a bunker here in the front for those Marines to get into. Marine already on the way there, which means that Rjbtv now has to pull unit drones from the back to the front, save up larva as well. Pull is finishing up, he has to kill that SCV before the bunker finishes, but it kind of depends on whether he's going to succeed or not, because the bunker is very close to finishing. He kills the SCV just in time, but the Marine's already there on the scene. Another 2 SCVs are already on the way, and Rjbtv has to build the sunken all the way over here if he wants to keep it alive. I think he's going to build that sunken a little bit too close, which means both of those Marines and those SCVs have the ability to keep damaging those creep colonies. Zergers are on the way already there for Rjbtv, but there's already 2 Marines there in the bunker, well, 1 next to it, 1 inside of it, and 2 SCVs there to repair the bunker, but he has to go for those SCVs first, because going for those SCVs first means he's going to lose those Zerglings. 1 sunken, almost finished, but it goes down nonetheless. Now he can target fire that sunken there in the back. And actually, this looks to be a very quick game here. Wait. The sunken in the back there stays alive. Zerg is coming on top of the bunker, but the bunker stays alive as well. The bunker now getting repaired, which means the sunken there in the back is going to go down. The sunken here on the side is not yet finishing up. It's still on the way, but Voss simply has to unload, target fire the sunken, and take it down. Now that the sunken is attacking the bunker, the sunken takes damage from the bunker. Zergers are coming in for the fight, but the Zergers are going to go down before. This is going to be very, very close, and actually he takes down the sunken right after the bunker dies, because the Marines, of course, once the bunker dies, are still alive, which now means Zergers are coming on the way to try and contest this fight here in the front. But looks like Voss has the upper hand here, because he has already 6 Marines here on the scene, and 4 more of them are on the way. Rjbtv tries to go in, but Voss micros that Marine away quite well, stays behind the hatchery to make it hard for those Zergers to get a surround on those Marines. And it looks like Voss wins this exchange. It looks like Rjbtv comes down on the receiving end and he loses the game, and the score turns into 1-2 in favor of Voss. Quickly gonna update that score there and move over to game number 4. Rjbtv is feeling like, damn you, Voss! So he goes for the exact same matchup. He goes for the Terran versus Zerg to give Voss a piece of his own cake. Likewise, what Rabbit did yesterday, and what Scan did against Rjbtv as well. This, 2 days ago. So Voss on the orange Zerg, Rjbtv on the pink Terran. I'm going to speed up the first 2 minutes, because the build orders are going to be the exact same as they were last game. 8 barracks, drone to the choke, depot, another barracks there for Rjbtv, and of course a pull. They're chatting away a bit. Hatchery coming down here for Voss as well. Then we're getting barrack number 3 there for Rjbtv. Get the scout. He goes for a cross-map scout. He's not scouting with the SCV, unlike Voss. He's not scouting with the SCV. He's scouting with Marine. Marine arrives on the scene. The Marine will no longer be seen, because down it goes. It's quite obscene. More Marines there coming on the way, balling up to fight those Zerglings. Zerglings scouting the map to the right side. Because he's expecting Rjbtv to be on the right side, because Rjbtv scouted Voss rather early, but he went for a cross-map scout. It's going to take a while before Voss finds his opponent, though he can use one single Zergling for every single spot, so that's working out for him quite well. All the Marines are balling up in the front, aiming to keep those Zerglings out. Also, Rjbtv here on the middle with a large exclamation mark. I've already pointed this out a couple of times, but I just like it. I think I did a pretty good job, which I've also already mentioned, but I can't be complimenting myself too much on that one. Single Sunken there in the front. He's saving up minerals for a lair, for another hatchery there in the back. It's a pretty quick extractor there. Now also going to make more Sunkens here in the front. Rjbtv almost has his academy on the way. He has his stim upgrade on the way, and he's got a factory on the way. That's the way I wanted to say it. He's got medics there on the way as well. Medics now finishing up, and they will arrive here on the scene right about the same time that the stim upgrade finishes up. I'm having trouble pronouncing words at the moment. So yeah, Highlight is then on the way here for Voss, so we can expect him to be going for Zerglings, I think. Zergling speed with Lurkers. Seems to be a pretty great option that he has up his sleeve at the moment, although he needs a little bit more gas to make all that work. Lurker aspect soon on the way. He's making more Sunkens there in the front because he knows that Rjbtv is aiming to go for that frontal attack with the stim upgrade, with the medics, with those Marines. He's got siege mode on the way now, starport on the way there as well. He's got a siege tank on the way there too. And that's another depot, no +1 command center, he's just sticking to a single command center, 2 gas for his strategy. He wants to be very aggressively on the front, goes in for the kill on the Sunken. That's one Sunken that's going to go down. The Marines there staying alive for a little bit longer than I expected them to because the medics are there to heal them. That's 6 medics healing those Marines. That's a lot of healing for those Marines, which means most of these Sunkens are going to go down here in the front because none of these Sunkens are killing any of those Marines because those 6 medics are so damn strong. Look at this. 6 medics. Absolute hero performance from those 6 medics, keeping those 6 Marines there alive. Well, the Marines now are dying because the medics are running out of energy, but he gets 6 Marines into the base, which now means that Voss is very exposed here in the back. He's got Sunkens on the way there. Highlight is now on the way there as well. He's got Lurkers being morphed somewhere. Where's the Lurker being morphed? Where? Oh, Lurkers are being morphed here. No, where's the Lurker being morphed? I can see the Lurker. Wait, it's the Lurker S-Pack. It's not the Lurker itself. Now drones are dying to the Marines. He's getting on top of those drones. Now means Voss has to pull those drones away to safety and wait for those Zerglings to spawn here in the back to get on top of those Marines. He's also sending in his drones for a stack attack on those Marines and doing a pretty successful defense here, but it costs him about 10 drones in total. Well, maybe not 10. It costs him about 8 drones in total there and a lot of lost mining time. That's going to propel Rjbtv ahead and forward, way past Voss's defensive ability. Because he already has a tank here on the scene, tank being protected by those Marines. Medics here also on the scene, still getting information. Medics still healing each other. While the push here on the front is happening at the same time. Voss has 2 Lurkers on the way, but those 2 Lurkers might not be doing all that much because there's already a science facility here and a science vessel on the way for Rjbtv, which will arrive on the scene right about the same time that those Lurkers arrive here in the front. Well, actually those Lurkers will arrive here earlier, but I think that Rjbtv will be just fine with that vessel arriving somewhere around 5 or 10 seconds later. He should be fine. More Marines are going in. These Marines going in force those Lurkers to burrow up here in the front, in between the choke and the main base. He zones those Marines away, but the Lurker here is actually buying a lot of time for this vessel to come and be sent over towards the scene, but he's going back and forth, and Voss is being quite greedy, moving forward with his Lurkers. It cost him 1 Lurker, that constant moving forward. So now Rjbtv will have his vessel on the way, Radiate on the way there as well, more Marines and tanks on the way too. Vessel number 2 also being queued up now. He's balling up his units there in the back, well, in the choke point, waiting for the vessel to go in and kill that Lurker and go for the kill on Voss. Rjbtv plays this matchup really well. I really like this control, this focus, and this multitasking that he's displaying here. And some pretty great optimization with those 6 medics for those Marines, keeping those Marines alive against all those Sunkens. In he goes, gets a radiate on the drones, which means a lot of drones are going to go down here. That's how many drones are going to go down. He killed 8 drones there with the radiate. Lurkers that are burrowing up, but there's too many tanks and Marines there, so all those things will go down. And Voss winds up losing the game within 7 minutes 37 seconds. Calls the GG. Rjbtv evens up the score for 2-2. Was to be expected. Was to be expected. So 2-2 is the score now. Let's move over to game number 5. We forgot to pause it. So for game number 5, it looks like Voss finally decides to pull out the Protoss versus Zerg. Should be an exciting match. They're right next to each other even. Gonna speed up the first 2 minutes, as is tradition at this point. Speeding up the first 2 minutes, both players chatting away a little bit. They're talking about the format and the best of format. Hatcher coming down in the front. Voss going the wrong way with his probe, so that gives Rjbtv some time to formulate a weak defense here in the front. Going for a single sunken, going for a fast hatchery, might go for a second hatchery, and queued up 6 Zerglings there in total. And Voss already went for a +1 Nexus, a Forge, 2 Gateways. He went for Gateways Forge. Wait, no, he went for Nexus, Gateways, Forge, Gas, of course, before the Forge. Gas already being mined. So Cybernetics Core going to come out very soon as well. Rjbtv is scouting the entire map by sending a Zerglings into every single direction. And he finds his opponent right next to him, which means those Zerglings are going to retreat back to the choke there. And it's going to take him a little bit of a while. He has hatchery number 2 there on the way. Zealots are here on the way for Rjbtv. Well, for Rjbtv to fight against, because they belong to Voss. So I'm going to do this color though, because yellow and white is a little bit annoying on the minimap. I mean, it's pretty colors though, but it's a lot of annoying, because I expect that to be a little bit of a problem in the future stages of the game. Zerglings trying to snipe the probe, but the Zealots are standing around that probe pretty well, but Voss kind of fucked up there, because that probe is not going to go down. It's on low HP though, only a single hit left, so he only has to get 1 more hit on the probe, now 2. The shield regens pretty damn quick. Cybercore's finished up, Pylon here in the front finished up, Robo already on the way, Cannon in the way there on the front. And 1 more hatchery being added on before Rjbtv decides to go for the gas and start making his Hydralisk den. 4 Sunkens here in the front. Voss's Zealot production is not that high, but it is sufficient at the moment, I assume. Another Pylon coming out there because he wants to build cannons in his entire section here and build Robos here behind it. So you can start with a Robo push or start making shuttles and Reavers for a Reaver push or fly them into the base. Another cannon there coming in on the way. Hatchery number 4, macro hatchery number 4. That's a macro hatchery. 1 hatchery there in the front for mostly defensive purposes, but you can also consider it a macro hatchery because it still contributes to the overall production of Rjbtv. So Hydralisk then there on the way as well. Zealous there, balling up there in the front. He's got 2 Robos, 1 finished up, support bay on the way inside of his base. Citadel of the Dune also on the way in his base. So I think we should be expecting a Reaver push very soon, because that's definitely what he's going for. Or maybe he's going for a shuttle first. Not going for a shuttle first, he's saving up minerals for Reavers. He wants to start with a push instead of starting off with a drop. I think this probe is going to add on some gateways. So I expect it to also be going for Zealot lags. I expect him, yeah, there's Zealot lags coming in. Oh, specifically they're called, I can't see what they're called because the interface is kind of being a bitch and not showing me the name. So there's macro hatchery number 5, a Hydralisk speed is on the way, Hydralisks are spawning. They're expecting a shuttle to be flying in, but no shuttleware is on the way. So we only have Reavers on the way here in the front. And yeah, a total of 5 gateways here, of which 3 are still on the way. So yeah, oh, I paused the game by accident there for like 2 seconds, so we missed 2 seconds, a small 2-second jump there. And even more hatcheries on the way here for, oh, that's a, yeah, hatchery number 6. And the Evo chamber for upgrades and spores. He's got Lair on the way now as well, so he's setting himself up for a pretty successful defense. Whether it's going to work or not, I am not sure, but he's slowly pushing forward with his progression. Voss already on 50 probes, Rjbtv on 35, so both players are on schedule. But I expect Rjbtv's probe count to skyrocket very quick, very soon after these waves of Hydralisks that he's making for defense, because as I said before, he's expecting a drop, but Voss is not going for a drop, he's going for a synced up level 1 weapon attack upgrade, shuttle speed, no shuttles though yet, the shuttle speed is needed in the future, He's going for a Reaver push, so he's gonna get those upgrades on the Zealots, the speed and the weapons, and send them in along with the Reavers all at the same time, and hopefully push through this entire choke point here and kill all the Sunkens, and those Reavers will be taking care of the Hylos there in the back. Rjbtv knows it's coming, so he's adding up more Sunkens, but he's spreading those Sunkens out a little bit, so that it's harder. There's more distance basically. That one Reaver Scarab damage does not kill or hit 2 Sunkens at the same time. And there's more distance to travel for those Zealots to get on top of all the Sunkens, but it's also easier for those Hylists to come in from all directions if the Sunkens are not blocking access to the enemy units. As you can see, he starts spreading them out, starts adding on more Sunkens there on the sides. Upgrades almost finished up here for Va, so he can be going in very soon. He's got a shuttle there on the way to pick up a Reaver and go for a drop at the same time. This is a really well optimized timing on all of these buildings. Spire on the way there for Rjbtv. Some 52 drones. He's got a lot of drones, but he's got a very small Hydralisk count. Theoretically speaking, Voss could go in right now and probably overrun. Wait, never mind. 9 Hydralisks are on the way there though. Wait, he's not going in. He had a chance to go in there and probably win the fight, but he decides to stall out and give Rjbtv a little bit more time, and a little bit more time might end up being fatal, because in goes Rjbtv for those Reavers, and he snipes 1 Reaver, snipes 2 Reavers, snipes number 3 there as well. Number 4 might go down, number 4 goes down there as well. Now there's only Zealots for Rjbtv to fight against, but there's too many Sunkens there in the back. The Hyliot is reinforcing, the Hyliot is already there for Voss to fight into, but a shuttle drop comes in there from the top side, and this one is unopposed. Rjbtv does not notice it yet. Rjbtv starts pulling off, starts pulling away his drones, but his drones are running away to safety, but his shuttle with the Reaver in tow is still on the chase. Reaver there lands next to the drones, gets the Scarab off, and he kills 3 drones. Pretty amazing luck there for Rjbtv, losing only 3 drones. Only 3 drones lost there. I was holding my heart there. But do note, his drone count is still very low. 35 drones against 73 probes there from Voss. So Voss, already on quite a big number of gateways, has the ability to make a lot of units very quickly and keep making a lot of units very, very rapidly and send them in for the fights. There's also Templars there in the mix now as well. He's in 171 supply against 86. Another 14 drones there finished up for Rjbtv, so he's got more income now, but his hatchery count is still only on 7. Well, 8, but I'd never count the main one. It does contribute, it definitely does. And he goes with those Mulists to kill the Reaver. There's 1 Reaver kill. Tries to get number 2 there as well, but this Mulists gets stormed, so they're on low HP and they won't contribute all that much in future fights. Voss goes in, that's a lot of units there. Level 1 weapon upgrade. Goes in with a drop there at the same time as well. Rjbtv will not spot and snipe this shuttle. Great Storms, he snipes the shuttle, but Great Storms are coming down on his units, decimating his unit count, but he does wind up winning this exchange because Voss is once again forced to pull away to the safety of his cannons here in the choke point. Now Rjbtv lives once again a little bit longer, but he's getting smaller and smaller in comparison to Voss, who is skyrocketing himself forward on that 84 probe count. It has a lot of upgrades there on the way. It's armor, level 1 armor finishing up. He's got level 1 air armor on the way as well, and his level 2 weapon upgrade on the way for his ground forces. But he already has level 1 armor, so this level, wait, he just finished it up. My bad. He just finished it up. More Templars being sent there to the front, but more Sunkens being built there for Rjbtv. All it takes at this point is for Voss to hit 1 good storm. Just 1 good storm. Hydralisks are on level 1 attack upgrade. Level 2 attack upgrade is on the way. Overlord speed on the way there as well. And he's got Lurker aspect on the way too. And he's got 2 more hazards on the way for macro. But the Reavers, 2 Reavers in the front are very slowly pushing through the Sunkens. In comes a drop though. Rjbtv didn't spot it. Storm drop comes down on top of the drones, and ooh! That's not how I expected this game to be ending. Rjbtv forgets to put an Overlord here on the top side, and it winds up biting him in the butt because he did not respond to that shuttle flying in. And I do admit it's hard to spot that shuttle flying in there. It's even harder if you don't have vision of that top corner. Even harder. He clears out a lot of units that Rjbtv had here in the front, clears out a lot of Sunkens there as well, loses a lot of his own units there in the exchange, But of course, because Rjbtv has no minerals and no income and a very low drone count, which Voss does have, he has a very high income, very high probe count, he can rebuild that mass very quick and just send in another wave very quick in rapid succession, and even load up another storm drop with a lot of Templars. There's a lot of Templars there. He only loads up a single one. In he goes with the storm. Templar arriving on the scene. Where will he storm? Well, will he unload? Goes in, storm drops a pretty hefty amount of drones there. That's about 6 drones. Got another Templars, misses the second storm, but has those Templars still alive there on the side, so he pulls back, retreats. Rjbtv holds another frontal attack there, but in comes another storm drop, and this time he's gonna hit all the drones there. All the drones are getting caught right on top of the storm. He loses the remainder of his drones, only has 50 of them left alive, and that game goes in favor of Voss as expected. Rjbtv is very close to being capable of surviving for the long run. That single shuttle getting through there on the top corner decides the match and decides the result. Now we're on 3-2. It means that Voss is very close to winning this set, and he still has a pretty favorable matchup left in his pocket, namely the Protoss versus Terran, but likewise Rjbtv has a Protoss versus Terran left in his pocket as well. So game number 6 and 7, or maybe just game number 6, but I think there's going to be 2 more games because Rjbtv gets to decide the matchup for the following game, are going to be 2 very interesting games because Rjbtv has probably the best Protoss versus Terran, and Voss actually is a little bit weaker in Protoss versus Terran. So there might be a chance for Rjbtv to claw his way through that Protoss versus the Terran versus Protoss they will undoubtedly have to play once Voss picks it. Without further ado, let's move on to game number 6. Game number 6. We have Rjbtv playing the yellow Protoss here on the middle right of the map. Whereas we have Voss playing on the pale blue Terran on the other side of the map. It's almost a cross map game. Very close. He's on the top left of the map. And I'm very quickly gonna close my door because I left my door open by accident. So I'm just gonna speed it up real quick and close the door. And I'm already back. Let's speed it up a little bit more. So Voss starts with the 8 barracks, Rjbtv 10 barracks, and of course then we get it. 11 barracks followed very shortly, almost 12 barracks. Rjbtv starts off with the most traditional build that I know for Koreans, which is 2 gateways into a nexus. This is a build we've very often seen on this channel, but we've seen a little bit less often as of late, because not a lot of players have been doing it lately. But I think this is still the very best Protoss versus Terran build order, because with those zealots you get some offensive punching power in the early phase, then you very quickly suddenly propel forward like a rocket engine off of that economy provided to you by that one nexus. Marines scouting the map, and actually I do feel like the music is a little bit too loud this time around. It's a little bit too loud, I honestly do think that. Unless there's some game music sounds that are a little bit louder than others. Now it might be a little bit too silent though. I'm not too sure, but I'm just gonna keep it at this level for now. Zealots encountering a marine? Well, a zealot encountering marines, actually. But now it's going to be a zealots encountering marines story, because those zealots are going the wrong way. They're going the wrong way, but now they're going to get a pretty good surround on those marines, because they have the backside covered. Well, these have the front side covered, so he's going to wait for those zealots to come in right here, then goes in with the zealots from the front and cut off those marines there, and pincer move them into oblivion. And instead of being pincer moved and getting caught out there, he goes in for the frontal attack there on those probes, tries to sneak his way through, but in the process he loses a couple of his marines, but the marines are getting on top of those probes and are going to disrupt a little bit of the economy that Rjbtv has there. Pretty smart move there from Voss by pulling those marines forward to the backside of Rjbtv's base, and he actually kills a lot of probes there. I think he got about 6 or 7 probes there 7 probes there in the process of that exchange. Oh wait, 6. Got 6 probes there in the process. That actually is a pretty damn strong hit there this early into the game. Voss now also going in with more Marines, trying to kill more probes, trying to disrupt that economy once again. Splits up his Marines quite well. Rjbtv is running behind on the facts here. This is quite a painful situation for Rjbtv, but he's going to be catching up his worker count within the next minute. But do note, one more probe goes down. So there's a total of 7 probes there went down, but Rjbtv is going to catch up in his worker count. Actually, no, he's not going to catch up because that +1 command center already finished there for Voss, so he's going to be actually running ahead of the facts for the remainder of the game with his worker count and his economy size. But once again, goes in with more Marines. The downside of this entire strategy by Voss here is, though, that he keeps losing all of his Marines. He does slow Rjbtv down with his income, but it comes at the cost of losing all of his Marines, which will give Rjbtv the opportunity to go for a counterattack in the near future with his larger Zealot count. Ooh, smart move there, comes in with the stim upgrade on those Marines, goes in for more probe kills, kills 1 more, 2 more, might even, no, not 3 more. So he killed a total of 9 probes there in the entire exchange in this early game. With more Marines trying to go in, but he goes for the cannon and he pulls back really quickly because he does not want to lose those Marines just yet. So one more, he goes for an engineering bay, barracks, a factory, and I think he's going to start with a choke there in the front as well, just in case. Because it looks like Rjbtv is coming for the counterattack and he has to get a choke up there very quick. But this is a lot of Zealots, that's 12 Zealots, 11 Zealots there. Against a measly 11 Marines, with 2 medics there though, and stem upgrade also there. But those Zealots are stronger than those Marines, so Voss has to pull off some amazing micro here if he wants to win this fight, but the micro is not enough. He's getting forced back to his own barrack line already, where there are more Marines there on the scene, but those Zealots are getting in there in between those buildings, getting on the chase, and forcing those Marines even further back, and this is what I'm talking about. Losing so many Marines in the early phase really made the following stages of the game very hard for him. And now Rjbtv is actually punching back pretty hard. Firebat's now spawning there though, but a single Zealot there tries to go for the SCVs, but it's getting blocked out by an SCV, but it kills the SCV that's blocking it. And the Firebat's actually going down to the Zealots before they can even kill the Zealots. One Zealot there goes down eventually in the end. But the fight is still progressing. Rjbtv is still hunting for things to kill. Rjbtv actually clawing himself back into this game by keeping Voss busy and making sure Voss keeps losing units, while he himself is going for that Reaver. And the Reaver shuttle might actually, at this point, be capable of dealing tremendous amounts of damage because so many Marines went down. Voss will not have a lot of Marines to fight against that Reaver shuttle, as Rjbtv has some amazing Reaver shuttle micros, so he might be capable of dealing some significant damage to either Marines or to SCVs, but I think he's going to go for the Marines there on the middle with assistance from those Zealots first, or is he going to fly around it and not go for those Marines at all, because he is honestly so much safe with those 4 cannons and 5 Zealots there protecting those cannons. Voss is being very greedy. He's moving out Marines and SCVs there to the middle, a couple of medics there as well, and a tank there on the scene as well, while this single shuttle there is on the top side of the map, already hunting for those probes. The SCVs, I mean. There's a turret there, not a turret there being constructed. He's going, I think he's going to fly just outside of the range of this turret, because the range of this turret is about this far. He doesn't go in just yet. He doesn't believe in it. But he can go in. He's focusing on defending first. He took down the tank there in the front with his Zealots. That's a pretty great slowdown there. Goes in with the shuttle. Shuttle does not go down. Shuttle reaches destination. It next to the SCVs and kills the SCVs there on the minerals. Voss did not spot it going in, kills another bunch of SCVs there, so still 32 SCVs alive. Another great scarab there comes down on a couple of SCVs, but SCVs kills another 4 of them, 5. Ew, this is an insanely hard hit on Voss's economy, given that he already lost so many Marines in the entire exchange there in the early phase, and this actually puts Rjbtv back in the lead over Voss. Voss could have used that lead to win the game, but instead he's put behind once more. 2 shuttles there finishing up, move to the front. He's got Templars on the way there as well. Psionic Storm has already finished up. Didn't go for armor or weapon upgrade. And now he's very slowly filling out his base. He's got Dragoons there on the scene, ready to snipe those dropships that Voss is most definitely going to send in to snipe those probes. Well, he already has 2 tanks there, but they're outside of the range of the probes. And it gets fended off by those Dragoons. He's looking for another opening, but instead he's going to land those tanks up there on the hill siege them up and make this a no-go zone for any of Rjbtv's units. And then he's going to pick up more tanks and fly them in from here and try to push forward to the probes there on the minerals and try to snipe those probes with the tank. That's pretty much his only shot to claw himself back into this game, in my honest opinion. But Rjbtv already unloads a single zealot there up on the hill to kill those two tanks, so that is getting shut down there as well. So Rjbtv is himself running behind on the facts by just a little bit. He's only just now hitting 74 probes, which he should have hit about a minute ago. But nonetheless, he's hit the point and he made a third nexus there to help him speed up his economic recovery and progression. Voss being pretty smart there, putting turrets on every single side there, and tries to go in with another tank drop. And this tank drop is not going to reach destination. He unloads the tank, but loads it back up. But both those dragoons are not... He puts them up on the hill there as well. Pretty smart, but all while this is happening, he did not make a frontal wall here. His front is still completely exposed. He did make a bunch of turrets there around Rjbtv's base so we can see anything that's leaving the base. But I think this is a costly, very costly experience for Voss, even though Rjbtv has yet to throw down a second shuttle drop. But he is setting up a pretty big shuttle drop, so this might actually work or it might fail. But he has given Voss a lot of time to recover from that hit on his SCVs by prolonging and postponing the second attack. But the second attack is now ready, I think. I feel it's ready. Zealot lags on the way, level 1. Shield upgrade on the way there as well. Shield. And level 1 armor. Oh, he's going straight into carriers, it appears. He's not going for a lot of gateways. I mean, he has a lot of gateways there, but I don't think he's going to stick to gateways for all that long. I think he's going to transition over into reaver drops, shuttle drops, and then into carriers, because he's already getting carrier-related upgrades. In goes the shuttles. Shuttles getting sniped there. All the shuttles get sniped there by those marines. A couple of zealots are coming in through the front, ready to take down that bunker there in the front, but the marines leaving the bunker and stimming up so they can deal more damage, but there's only 2 marines there in the bunker, so the bunker is definitely going to go down. Corsairs there ready to assist shuttles to fly into the base. Rjbtv now knows that Voss does not have a choke, so he can go in for the attack. And he throws down a scan there on the bottom side, looks for an opening for his tanks to fly in through. But he loses the scan vision. Actually, Rjbtv pulls away his probes. He loses about 41 probes there, still has 50 of them left. But that's a huge, huge hit there on his probe count and his income. Huge, huge hit. But Rjbtv is at the same time going in with a drop of his own, which Voss is responding to, and he will snipe both shuttles. No Templars there on the low ground, but a frontal attack happening here as well. Takes down a couple of tanks and units in the front. Prevents this depots and those turrets from being built in the front. Gets a pretty great storm off on some of those marines. But eventually Voss does force Rjbtv to retreat back to his own base, where Rjbtv is already formulating yet another frontal attack and possibly a storm drop. He has shuttles on the way there. No reavers, so I was wrong about the reavers. But nonetheless, he is recovering himself from that attack. He has 3 Nexi, so he will have all of his probes back within a minute or 2. This goes pretty quick. He gets 3 probes per 14 seconds. So in a minute, he should be getting about 16 of them. A little bit more, probably. A little bit more. Because 1 second shy of 15, which goes into a minute 4 times. But he should be on about 16 probes per minute, which gives him about 2 minutes to recover his entire probe count. Another tank drop already coming in, but Rjbtv knows it's coming because he has zealots all spread out on the bottom side there, so he knows it's coming. He has a zealot there up on the hill as well, and 2 dragoons already there on location. And he's warping in 3 more cannons to make sure that those tanks cannot siege up and kill probes in time. Although there's still a nice little pocket there for the tank drop to be landed and get a shot off on those probes. But more importantly, at the moment, there's a shuttle drop coming in there from the top side. Voss might spot. He's got a lot of marines there on the scene, but the marines are stimming and stimming, trying to stim down those shuttles, but all the Templars have unloaded. He's 1 more Templar there alive. All Templars go down. He killed all of the units there on this little pocket there. More zealots unloading to keep him busy and force the tanks to kill his own units. But all the SCVs there from Voss staying alive. 89 SCVs in total. He's still making more SCVs, so he's going to overcut his SCV count by quite a bit. But nonetheless, he's progressing very, very quickly now. He's making command centers instead of making more depots. He can lift up those command centers up on the hill there. He's making and filling out the remainder of his base with factories and starports. And he's got a wall there in the front as well to keep enemy units out. So Voss is actually already reached the point where he is capable of outmassing Rjbtv, but there's still a high chance that Rjbtv is going to hit some pretty gnarly storm drops or attacks. Also, Rjbtv is going for carrier capacity upgrade already, so he's planning on switching over into carriers, but he first has to, of course, build a carrier expo. A Stargate expo, Stargate proxy, however you want to call it. Comes in from the bottom side, 4 shuttles there in total. There's 2 Valkyries that are ready to intercept, Marines that are ready to intercept that as well, but one of the shuttles makes it through, but there's no Templars there. It's mostly Zealots trying to clear out whatever they can attack. So this drop not really succeeding for Rjbtv, but at least he gets one of those turrets and a couple of Marines there on the low ground, but he doesn't get all that much results. Rjbtv has recovered his probe count, now up to 82. 97 for Voss. That's way too much, way too many SCVs. But I think he's going to kill some of his SCVs very soon, or he might lose some SCVs against this drop coming in from the top side once again. But he gets spotted out by the single turret there. So Voss knows it's coming. Voss scans, but a little bit late on a response there with his Marines. But it's mostly Zealots. He unloads there on the top side corner, wants to clear out any units that he can find. Clears out a couple of units, but does not kill all that much. Kills 1 turret, kills 2 turrets, kills 3 turrets. And a couple of Marines, but not that much achieved. Once again, Voss stays alive with his SCV count, does not lose SCVs, secures his income once again, but another drop already coming in here for Rjbtv, flying over the top side of the map, but at the same time there's tanks flying in for Voss, who has cleaned out this one cannon there with the help of these 2 tanks, and now he's going to try to move forward and down by landing more tanks here on the low ground, but another drop comes in there for Rjbtv, this time landing close to the SCVs, but it's once again, the Templar does not reach its destination. Templar's still there in the top corner, it's still alive, so he's trying to trick Voss into sending his SCVs back to his minerals, but I don't think Voss is going to fall for it, because he's already trying to kill the shuttle there on the top side. Rjbtv unloads it. SCVs have not yet returned. He gets a storm off and he kills 2 SCVs with the storm. Templar still has energy, and all of the SCVs running back into the storm. He kills another. He kills a total of 10 SCVs there, which actually helps Voss out. But Voss is making new SCVs thinking he lost more, but actually Voss is now at a perfect SCV count. So the abuse there on the hill is still happening, but this time around a bigger, even bigger shuttle armada is flying in over across the map. More tanks being shuttled over with these going in. Some shuttles are arriving on destination. There's 4 Templars, 1 Templar there storms, another Templar there also trying to storm, but it misses the SCVs. 1 Templar there hits the SCVs though, and he kills 20 SCVs there with the last storm drop, which once again helps Voss out, because Voss already has most of his base, so he doesn't need more SCVs than he currently has. But I think Voss is nonetheless going to rebuild some SCVs, because he's under the impression he's lost more or has fewer SCVs than he in fact has. Also, Stargate proxy there on the bottom side, making carriers, so Rjbtv is progressing quite nicely. Tanks being unloaded there on the low ground, ready to take down those cannons here. But Rjbtv loaded up some of his shuttles with Zealots, so he's going to try to unload Zealots on top of the hill there, but he's incapable of fitting another Zealot in there. Instead he goes for the Zealots there on the low ground and buys himself some time. There's 2 tanks there, but they're just outside of the range of the probes, so the probes are safe, but he can fight and attack that Nexus there. So the Nexus is taking some damage, but he's already loading up, well, he's killing probes on the gas. So he unloads a couple of Zealots there on top of the tanks, takes care of those tanks, while buying himself more time to get those carriers up and running. He's only got 4 carriers on the way there on the bottom side, but it might just be enough to facilitate a pretty good attack there that Voss might suffer from. The goons moving across the map to clear out buildings. A lot of Valkyries now moving out to location here as well, so you can protect those tanks up on the hill from carriers with the Valkyrie missiles. Well, they call them the Halo rockets specifically. So he puts them in location, starts sniping the shuttles there before pulling back to the hill, I'm sure. And a drop comes in here into Voss's base, but Voss now has no Valkyries to snipe those shuttles, so the shuttles will make it all the way to destination, which means Templars are going to be on destination there as well. Templars unloading on top of the minerals, and the minerals are going down. It's a lot of storms that are coming down with all of the SCVs there on the minerals, and there's actually a lot of idle SCVs all spread out across his base because he's... Ooh, more storms coming out there. I think he killed a total... Ooh, a lot of storms. I think he killed a total of 40 SCVs there in total, so that's actually a pretty great hit there on Voss, who is also low on minerals at the moment. He has a lot of gas there though, so he can afford to pull all of his SCVs off of his gas onto his minerals. But a push still trying to be happening here on the top side, but it's not happening because he's got a Dark Templar there, clearing out tanks there on the low ground. And a lot is happening this game, and I'm running out of breath. I am running out of breath. Carrier's trying to go in to kill those tanks that are up on the high ground, but Valkyries chase them away. But the Valkyries accidentally chasing into the cannons, and they're going to pay for that with their lives. That actually helps Rjbtv significantly, because now Rjbtv can clear out these tanks that are up on the high ground while also formulating a frontal attack or clearing out units here on the middle that are trying to reinforce the units here on above Rjbtv's base there near the hill. So in he goes here in the base. Dark Templars making their way through, and they're going to clear out everything here in the base because there's no detection to take down those Dark Templars. So the Dark Templars are having a field day there. Scan comes out though. The scan is going to take care of those Dark Templars. Well, this Dark Templar might stay alive because the scan is going to end. This is disastrous for Voss because now he's losing all of his units in his base, and another shuttle drop there coming in from the front from Rjbtv's base, and it's going to take care of those workers there because there's one Templar stormed on the SCVs, and SCVs didn't dodge the storm, and now he's got 26 SCVs left, only 1300 minerals, and I think there might even be more Templars inside those shuttles. Yes, there's still a Templar in there. Looks like Voss knows. Rjbtv unloads a Templar, picks it back up, sends it into the top corner there behind their production tab, waiting for a chance to storm the SCVs returning back to minerals. Ooh, SCVs returning back a little bit too early, but there's 3 siege tanks there on the low ground. So he cannot unload the Templar because it would go down to those tanks regardless. Tanks up on the hill have been cleared out. Units behind the hill have also been cleared out. Voss has pulled back most of his units back to his base because he needs to defend, he needs to survive. But this gives Rjbtv the final opportunity to finally go for some real frontal attacks. Run in through this large gaping hole that is not a choke. Start sacrificing some probes there as well because he's got too many minerals. Zealots coming in, walking through the front, and they're going to take down whatever they find because there's nothing opposing them. Same for those carriers coming in through the front. More units coming in from the base there as well. Templars, Zealots with their nice level 1 shield upgrade. He doesn't have any upgrades. What is this? His level 2 air upgrades though. So he's got that going because he was always planning to go for carriers right from the start. And yeah, Voss calls his GG, and Rjbtv climbs and claws himself back into the series by avoiding a game number 6 loss, evens up the score 3-3, and now we are reaching match point for both players. Game number 7 will be the decider, but Voss gets to pick the races. So technically speaking, Voss has the advantage. And so we're moving into the final match point game, and we have Voss undoubtedly on the Protoss because that's the most logical choice for him. Otherwise he would have to play a Zerg versus Zerg or a Terran versus Terran, which is equal chances basically. So he picks the Protoss versus Terran, which gives him the highest chance of succeeding. Rjbtv here on the magenta Terran, right below Voss. Voss there on the middle right, Rjbtv on the bottom right. Let's speed up the first 2 minutes because we all already know what's going to happen. Barrack there on 8 supply, depot on 9 supply, and another barrack on 10 supply for Rjbtv, whereas Voss is going for pylon into a nexus, into a forge for the choke. But Rjbtv already scouting, and he's going cross map as usual. He wants to find if there is... Well, he's not going cross map, he's going for the middle to scout a proxy gateway build. If there's no proxy gateway build, he finds a choke here in the front. This means Marines are going to be arriving on the scene to contest this choke. There's already 2 probes there on the scene to at least try and harass the Marine and the SCV. He's making a 3rd cannon. Marine and SCV are not going to attack the cannons that are in the front, but they're going for the backside there. But the Marine is going to get caught between all those probes. Pretty good stuff there from Voss, although Rjbtv is Michaeling his way out of there. And he gets 2 Marines in and a single SCV there, also hammering away on a probe. Probe will not go down because the probe gets pulled to save it, but now the Marines are arriving on the scene there as well, which means a couple of probes are going to go down, I assume, but no, the probes are fighting against the Marines quite well. The probes get a surround on the Marines. 1 Marine, no, probes go down, 2 Marines go down, and this last SCV will go for something to kill, but it goes down as well. And the first exchange there ends, and I expect we're not going to be seeing any more conflicts happening for the next 3 or 4 minutes, because Voss has cannons up there in the front, which Rjbtv cannot break through at the moment, so he's going for a +1 command center, keeps producing from his 3 barracks, adds on a refinery, and there is an academy coming down as well. So he might, there's a small chance, he might be going for a medic stim attack there on the front, together with some Marines of course. Whereas Voss is going for a Cybercore in 3 gateways, so I assume he's going for his Dragoon build into Reavers. I assume that's what he's going to do. He went for 3 Gazers there. That's a lot of gas he's going to be getting into his pockets. Although he is not yet using his gas. Because he doesn't have enough gas, of course. But he's not yet using his gas. He's making a pylon there on the top side just to spot barracks being flown over. Also to start a skeleton to build his base with. So of course, you need, as Protoss, you need pylons to power your buildings. Command center number 3 also coming in there from Rjbtv, a little bit late compared to his first one, but it's a third one nonetheless. Factory also there being built as well, quite early, but he's going to need his factory nonetheless. As I mentioned earlier, Dragoon is already on the way, Dragoon range also on the way, more Dragoons also being queued up. So he's definitely going for that 1 Dragoon build of his that is honestly quite strong, and I like it more than his other Protoss builds, although if this build fails, you have a lot of gas invested into Dragoons, so your attack progression is a little bit slower, a little bit later, and that might give the Protoss enough time to become too big to handle for the Protoss. So the Terran will become too big to handle. So Engineering Bay there on the way for turrets, just in case there's Dark Templars and shuttles flying in. Robo already there on the way. No Citadel, no Citadel. So really is going all out on those Dragoons. Already has 4 Dragoons there up and running. The Dragoons are now trying to go for the frontal attack there to keep Rjbtv busy. But Rjbtv already has a machine shop on the way, but no siege upgrade on the way just yet. He doesn't have a range finished either, but the range is on the way. He also just used his scan to keep track of what Voss is doing. So he's now at least updated on what Voss's plan is. Although Voss has already showed his cards here by showing those Dragoons there in the front, which have their Dragoon range on the way. But Marine range will finish before the Dragoon range, so I don't think he's going to be capable of using Dragoon range to take down these bunkers and depots here in the front, because the Marines can fire on Dragoons. Dragoons forced to pull back a little bit to stay outside of the Marine range, and that is kind of a stalemate at the moment, but he does have his Robo finished up. He's got a support bay there on... No support bay on the way yet. Wait, here's the Citadel of Doom, there's the support bay, there's Robo number 2. But building a cannon there as well, Engineering Bay hovering up on the hill to get vision. Machine Shop has a Siege Tank upgrade on the way. Siege Tank is just finishing up and rolling to the front, waiting for the Siege upgrade to finish so we can keep those Dragoons there in the front at bay. Whereas Voss is waiting for double Reaver to finish up. He's got Reaver queued up there on the top side. Reaver will soon be queued up here on the bottom as well. And he's going to pick them up with his shuttle and fly them to the front. Dragoon range is finished up, so he's going to try to at least deal damage in the front. The bunker there goes down, tank there in the back is assisting but taking damage. Tank now sieges up because siege mode is finished up, and now he goes in with the Marines to keep those Dragoons at bay. And of course the tank there also keeping the Dragoons away. And Voss loses some of his sway because he no longer has a way into that base of Rjbtv. He's now going to have to wait for the shuttle and the Reavers. The Reavers are a little bit behind on schedule, but he's adding on more Robos so we can start making a lot of Reavers, a lot of shuttles for follow-up drops. Also Forster coming down. There's no Templars archive being made yet, so he's going to stick to Reavers, I'm sure. Otherwise he would have already gone for a Templars archive. He's got robotic gravitic boosters on the way for shuttle speed. More tanks rolling up there to the front, more turrets being made there on the top side, and he's still making a lot of SCVs because he's on 4 SCVs against 55 probe there from Voss. So the choice from Rjbtv to go for a very early +2 command center is working out for him because his economy is booming. It's getting bigger and bigger. And he'll have a base pretty damn quick. Also has Marines already here on the scene to intercept shuttles because he he knows that Voss will not come from this side, but he will come from this side with his shuttle. Also a couple of turrets there already finished up, which Voss is going to spot out. Also a scan came out there for Rjbtv, scouts this portion here, sees a Reaver, sees his shuttle. So he has some information, shuttle there coming in from the bottom side, but his shuttle doesn't have speed, and there's 2 Reavers in there, so the 2 Reavers will have to unload there on the low ground next to the hill and start taking down Marines. Marines coming down there, Marines being spread out quite nicely. Marines still taking down a lot of Marines there with the Scarab shots, but the Marines eventually do come out on top. No turrets go down, mostly just Marines, and Marines are of course replaceable with new Marines. Also 3 factories there, no starport yet, so no tank drops are coming out for Rjbtv in the near future or anytime soon, but he's starting his first starport right now. Also doesn't have a full wall just yet. Single depot there went down, so there is a way for Voss to get into Rjbtv's base there through the front. Nonetheless though, it will be pretty hard because there's 3 tanks and a lot of bunkers filled up with Marines to defend. So a total of 5 shuttles here, 6 shuttles there finished up for Voss. And he's got Reavers there on the way, Zealots on the way, Dragoons on the way. He doesn't have a Templar's Archive yet, but it's just being started there. Got level 1 weapon upgrade on the way for his ground forces. He's flying back and forth with his shuttles, making Rjbtv believe that he already has his drop finished, but sends them back once the scan ends, so he can load up those units without showing his hands just yet. But I think Rjbtv knows that there's Reavers on the way. So he's sieging up all of his tanks here on the bottom side. He moved them away from the front side, moving to the back side. He's building bunkers there on the back side as well, so Marines don't immediately die to Reaver shots or Templar storms, so they can deal a little bit more damage over time. And he's setting himself up for a pretty good defense there, but there comes the drop. There's a lot of Reavers, a lot of Zealots there inside those shuttles, and he unloads them. But he unloads them in a pretty bad spot, in my opinion. And the Reavers cannot really get damage off because all the SCVs are blocking the Scarab shots. The Scarab shots cannot reach their destination and their targets, and the entire drop more or less falls flat without really killing anything. Had he decided to drop right here, he could have taken down those tanks and those Reavers, and also cut off the escape path for those SCVs to run away to. But he decides to drop in a pretty bad spot there, which ends up being Rjbtv's saving grace, because that could have been a game-ending drop there if he had dropped here. Right there, because then he would have killed these 2 tanks immediately, and then only have Marines left to fight while those SCVs are either forced to go there. Yeah, they pretty much can only go here, because otherwise they would be running into those Reavers, and those Reavers would definitely be capable of killing those SCVs. But poor target selection can sometimes lose you games. Still trying to take down that frontal wall there, does so successfully, but now the tanks are taking down those Dragoons, they're in the front. Rjbtv actually loses a lot of SCVs this time around though. I missed the drop because I'm stupid. But he lost about another 20 SCVs there. Still has 50 of them alive though, and quite smartly he pulls most of the SCVs from his gas onto his minerals, so he can recover quicker than if he hadn't. Also starts building tanks there up on the top side so he can take down those cannons there that are intended to kill those turrets here over the hill. Voss already formulating and assembling his next attack. Reavers, Zealots, he sends out 1 storm drop down over to the bottom side that he can fly in while he is flying in this bigger drop that's mostly there as a distraction, and this is going to be his backup drop that's aiming to kill and storm SCVs. I think he's going for 2 drops at the same time, or maybe he's going for 2 drops in very quick and rapid succession. He's sending a drop in from the bottom side just to change up directions and change the focus for Rjbtv on 2 separate locations, on 2 drops that he has to deal with at the same time. A lot of tanks are on the top side, so this is not an option for Voss to drop his units at. He goes in, he wants to unload there, but then sees that I can't unload there. So he sends in 1 drop. 1 drop is mostly just Zealots aimed to distract and kill stuff there on the low ground, while the real drop is coming in from the bottom side. But Rjbtv is putting his workers back on the minerals, but he's dodging the storm there though. Storm comes out a little bit late, but the storm kills 2, another storm kills about 4, so a total of 7 units there went down. Not a great hit for Voss, but it keeps Rjbtv busy for now. But Voss has to start hitting some bigger drops. He does have carriers on the way and carry capacity also on the way. He's got both those weapon upgrades and shield upgrades on the way for his air. No armor upgrade though on the way for air, but he does have weapon upgrade on the way for air. Wait, he already has level 1 armor finished up, so he's got that in the pocket already. Battle drop here comes in. Rjbtv might be able to snipe this one just in time. No, not sniping it in time. Rjbtv dodging the storm though with his SCVs hotkeyed, sends them to safety and avoids losing SCVs once again. But he is staring down the barrel of incoming carriers because there's a lot of carriers he queued up for Voss. Those carriers will come out at about 14 minutes. He still has to wait a couple of seconds for interceptors to finish, but looks like Rjbtv uses his scan just in time to keep track of the progression towards carriers. And Rjbtv is not planning on giving Voss any more time because he's already using the one form of spot abuse this map has, and that is hill abuse with either tanks, dragoons, or whatever you can put on there. And he's slowly pushing towards those probes, which is also why Voss is going for those very fast and quick carriers, because he needs carriers to fight against those tanks here up on the hill. But you can't fight them with ground forces or with shuttles that consistently. Another drop there, moving closer towards the minerals. Is he going to kill this tank? The tank goes down before he gets a shot off on the probes. So the workers there for Voss staying alive. He's buying himself more time, but this tank there is loading up and it's within range of the probes. He kills the probes. No, he kills the wrong side of the probes. And most of the probes on that side actually pulled away to safety just in time. So Voss stays in the game a little bit longer, and his carriers already finished up there. Carriers on the way, but Valkyries have already finished there, and more Valkyries are already on the way for Rjbtv there. He has 3 starports making Valkyries, and I think he's going to make Goliaths there as well. Or is he going to just stick to flying in dropships with tanks there to move closer to the probes? The tanks go down before they can get a hit off on the probes, so the probes stay alive once again. And of course, those Corsairs are there to take down the dropships and to take care of the Valkyries, but the Valkyries now moving into the mix because the Corsairs have sacrificed their lives flying into those turrets there in the back. More carriers still on the way there for Voss. He's got 4 of them finished up, 5 of them finished up, 6 of them finished up. What the Rjbtv doing there in the front though? Alright, they're now moving to the back, ready to defend against those tank drops. Rjbtv is up to something. Well, sacrificing Marines mostly for more supply space. He's on 90 SCVs there. He's got a pretty good drop defense there. He's got a couple of nice Valkyries there up and running to fight against those carriers. 6 carriers there fighting against the turrets, and the tanks are up on the hill. Valkyries are pretty amazing at taking out interceptors. Once you grab your Valkyries and spread them out in the back, put them in hold position, and they destroy interceptors. And you mostly spread them out once you know that the enemy has arbiters, because arbiter stasis is pretty lethal when you have a lot of Valkyries in very small groups. So you spread them out like over a long line, and they take down interceptors very easily and quickly. In he goes with the carriers to distract from the shuttles. The shuttles are waiting to get in there, but there's a lot of Valkyries there behind the hill, so he cannot send in those shuttles just yet. He has to wait a little bit longer. Another shuttle drop there flying over the left side next to Rjbtv's base, looking for a way in. He's going to go all the way to the bottom side instead of using this hole there. And there's a lot of turrets here on the bottom side, so he's actually picking a harder trajectory if he had gone in from the front side here. Nonetheless, drop is going in at the same time as the drop is going in from the top side with the assistance of the carriers, and he's reaching destination. No, that one goes down, and this one goes in all the way though. Rjbtv not pulling his SCVs away from the minerals, and the Reaver there unloads. Reaver gets a pretty great shot off on those workers. Another great shot there coming out on those workers, and he's going to take down the command center there as well. Killed most of the probes there, but he still has 46 SCVs there alive, and the command center is being repaired. It's being repaired. It's going to stay alive. The Zealots are going down. It was pretty close, but he manages to hold on there. More Marines are running into the left to open up supply space, and tanks that are up on the hill are being cleaned out by the carriers, but Rjbtv is once again going to try to unload tanks next to the probes there, and there's a lot of tanks there, and he's actually going to get a shot off on the probes. He kills 10 probes. Way less than I anticipated, but at least he kills some probes, but it doesn't hurt Voss at all, because at this point in the match, because he has carriers which live on interceptors, and interceptors are pretty cheap to reproduce, you only need about 30 probes on your minerals to keep up your interceptor production. The only threat though is that once you lose all those carriers, you are going to run out of minerals very quick when you have to replace all those carriers. But as long as he keeps those carriers alive and only loses interceptors, he should be completely fine. Also, the Corsairs are there to kill Valkyries or Raids in the case Rjbtv goes for Valkyries or Raids, because Corsairs do a lot of damage to stacked up units. Voss goes in for the frontal attack. He knows he's got this, or at least he feels he's got this, because in theory, he hit all the drops that he had to hit to keep Rjbtv busy, occupied, and somewhat small. But Rjbtv is actually quite big, and he has a lot of Valkyries to fight against those units, and now he's sending in a shuttle drop there in the side, and the Reaver unloads are on the drop side, on the low side, on the low ground, but the Valkyries kill the shuttles just before they can reach destination and kill SCVs once again. Rjbtv is still hanging in there, and he's got a lot of Valkyries. He's got a total of 15 Valkyries there hanging, ready to fight against those carriers. That's a total of 9 carriers. He's getting 2 more carriers there adding into the mix, and he's got 5, 6, 7 more. Oh, no, that's Corsairs. He still has a couple. He's got 3 more. He's got 3 more carriers there on the way, and mostly Corsairs, or just 4. It's 3 more carriers and mostly Corsairs there on the way, so he's going to hit a number of around 14 carriers, maybe 15. And it should be about 14 carriers that he'll have to fight against Rjbtv with. Maybe 15. A small chance it's going to be 15. But throwing out a lot of cannons here to make life very hard for tanks that are being landed here up on the hill. Because now tanks landing here up on the hill are going to get attacked by those cannons, but the tanks behind the hill are clearing out those cannons behind the hill. So at least he's progressing. Also making a lot of shield batteries here. Whenever his carriers take damage and lose their shields, you can fly them back onto those shield batteries, give them new shields, and then go back into the fight. Also loading up another drop there to hit Voss with. But Rjbtv has recovered really well because he's already on 85 SCVs, and he's finally filling out the remainder of his base with more factories. Carriers there coming in, Valkyries there getting into position to take down those interceptors. That's a lot of interceptors that are going to go down to those Valkyries, and the carriers are actually moving in a little bit too greedily, which gives the Valkyries the opportunity to just focus on the carriers themselves while the interceptors are going down. He's gonna go for the command center, but the command center is being blocked by barracks, but in comes the shuttle drop there at the same time as well, which means that Rjbtv now has to start dodging the storm drop because there's gonna be Reavers in the mix. But he cannot target fire. Oh, he can target fire on the command center with those Reavers on the low ground, though. He took down all the carriers very, very quickly. And that's what I meant with Voss being very, very greedy. But he does take down the command center. Eventually, he took down about 20 SCVs there at the same time as well. Reavers did their job very, very well. The attack eventually does wind up working for Voss, but as a result, Voss has no mass whatsoever, which means now that Rjbtv can start loading up tanks here on the low ground uncontested and push for the probes there uncontested, because it's going to take a long time for all those carriers to be respawned, and he does not have enough gateways to make a gateway mass army. But that's exactly what I think Rjbtv is going to do. I think he's going to punish Voss for that greed, because even though Voss got some pretty great results taking out a command center and killing some of his SCVs, he did lose his means of defending against tanks being dropped here. And you'd be surprised how quick Rjbtv can progress from this hill all the way to those probes while those carriers are under construction. Because as Falcon Paladin always likes to say, carriers are slower than watching paint dry. And I'm going to use that little line as well. It's slower than watching paint dry. Slower than watching paint dry. It definitely is. Tanks now unloading next to the hill. Rjbtv very slowly progressing forward with his tank line, but he's got to be quick because carriers are pretty close to finishing up. But do know that even if carriers do finish up, they still have to build their interceptors. And given that Rjbtv has so many Valkyries here behind the hill, those interceptors are not going to be posing much of a threat. And I actually think Rjbtv might now be in position to push forward and kill those probes once and for all before Voss is ready to fight against them. Because there's a lot of dropships, 3 dropships full with tanks. Got an EMP there in the mix as well. Throws down. He's not throwing down an EMP just yet. Valkyries are now gonna go in on those interceptors instead of going for the carriers themselves. Throws down a defensive matrix on the tank. He's going for the Nexus, I think. Actually, he cannot hit the Nexus, he can only hit the probes. The this is the range of those tanks. You can just hit the probes. The probes are no longer on the minerals. And he's waiting for interceptors to finish spawning, but all the Valkyries there in the back are gonna make this an impossible task for Voss to fight into. And Voss might actually have lost himself the game there by sacrificing all of his carriers in that very, very greedy push into Rjbtv's base. Unloading Reavers there now as well, but he's going to lose this Nexus very soon, very quick. Also, he's losing a lot of income. He pushes probes back on the minerals, and the tanks are moving closer towards the Nexus. They're going to get shot off on the probe. No, the probes are running away once again. All this time, Voss has not had any income. sending a couple of probes in to try and kill those units on the low ground, but the Valkyries are taking care of all the interceptors, and there's no interceptors left. We met the next wave of tanks flying in will be the nail in the coffin for Vaz, and Rjbtv will take home the win here. I am 100% sure. He's now chasing the carriers even, and he gets a pretty great shot off on probes. There are 2 tanks there, sieging up. Gets shot off on the Nexus. Nexus is very close to dying. 1 more shot, 2 more shots. Come on, focus down the Nexus. Come on, take the Nexus. Come on, take it. He cannot, it's still out of range. He cannot kill it. But the carriers, being greedy to defend, are now exposing themselves to all the carrier fire. And Vaz has no more minerals. He took down the Nexus there as well. He took down the Nexus. He has a new Nexus there on the top side. He's sending his probes there to the sub side, but he has no minerals. He only has 35 probes, so he cannot rebuild his mass at all. He's only on 70 supply. He's pretty much got nothing whatsoever. And the tanks are very slowly progressing, and Rjbtv looks to have already won the game. There's no way Vaz is gonna come back into this game, and Vaz, ooh, he's gotta be feeling a little bit mad about that one. Because he lost himself the game. He lost himself the game by being way too greedy with that carrier flying. This is really really well played from Rjbtv. He recognized what he had to do. He recognized that there was an opportunity and the window to go for the counterattack, and he fully utilized that counterattack. And I think Vaz is just now trying to process what happened. He's trying to prolong the game, trying to fight his way back, I'm sure, but there's no way. There's just no way, because look, Rjbtv already moving out with his tanks into the middle of the map, and he's gonna start the frontal push here on those cannons and then clear out Vaz's base with all of those tanks. Only has level 2 weapon upgrades there, whereas Vaz has level 3, 2, 3. 3 armor, 2 shields, 3 weapons for his air. But those superior upgrades ended up not mattering all that much. Although the air upgrades are on level 3 and 2 for Rjbtv there, and Vaz knows the game is over because his proxy there gets scouted as well. Tanks and sieging there next to the proxy. Which means Rjbtv wins the game, he wins the set, and he becomes the very first champion of the Rjbtv season, or well, first Rjbtv tour, with a very unique format. Went to game number 7 as well, so they were somewhat evenly matched. But Rjbtv comes out on top because Vaz is too greedy, way too greedy. So yeah, thanks for watching my very first tournament. I hope you enjoyed the tournament. I'll be doing another tournament in the near future, and I'm going to expand it a little bit to include maybe 8 players in total. Maybe I'm going for 6 players, but that's a little bit weird to do. Maybe I'm going for a round robin where everyone plays everyone once, and well, not once, but everyone plays a set against everyone, and then the person with the best score amongst everyone takes home the money. That's going to be a little bit harder to manage, but anyway, Rjbtv wins my tournament and he takes home $100. So that's a very nice bit of money that Rjbtv won himself there. And I hope to be seeing him back for the next tournament, and I hope to be seeing all you viewers back for the next tournament there as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it. I really like the format. It feels very balanced, where players can decide what the next race matchup is going to be when they lose a match. That a player can't abuse races all the time, but both players get equal opportunity to get a better race than the other person, and sometimes even take home a win when they have, in theory, a weaker race. Because Terran against Protoss should be winning this about 60 or 70% of the time amongst Koreans, and Rjbtv took home the win regardless, even though the match was in favor of Vaz. Anyway, thanks for watching, see you again next time, hope you enjoyed this, and have a great time.